Yeah, we're super excited to be here today to announce the signing of Fernando Tatis to a 14-year contract. It's a big day for the franchise. It's a big day for the game of baseball. One of the game's most exciting and best talents deciding to make San Diego his home, hopefully for his career. The contract process really started January 3rd. I flew down to the Dominican Republic. I got in the car with Cesar Rizek and Chris Kemp, who oversee our international department. And on the drive from Santo Domingo, just outside of San Pedro, where Fernando makes his off-season home, we just talked about three different paths. And we talked about we could go year to year. We talked about potentially a multi-year deal in which we were to buy out a year or two of free agency. And we talked about a long-term contract in which Fernando hopefully would be a Padre for his career, and we would have him under contract throughout his 20s and his 30s. And in talking, we talked about the positives and the negatives of those situations in that car ride. And Chris talked about the day before he was at the Park in the Park, which is the area outside of Petco, in center field, and he's walking around looking at the statues of Trevor Hoffman and Tony Gwynn, and just thinking about their legacy, what they meant to the city of San Diego, what they meant to the Padre fan base, what they meant to the game of baseball. And we just talked about that third option. When you have a talent as exciting as Fernando, Chris started talking about a statute contract and talking about what that meant to the city and the franchise, and that Fernando may have a chance to, with the type of contract, may have a chance to one day be out there like Tony and like Trevor, and build his own legacy. That day in San Pedro, we talked about a lot of high-level things. We talked about the organization, talked about the farm system, we talked about our scouting philosophy, talked about ownership. We talked a lot about what was important to Junior in this whole process, talked a lot about leadership, talked about his vision for the organization, and how we can be better as a group and as a franchise. And these things really only work when everybody's on the same page. And I think we left that meeting feeling like we were really, there was a lot of common ground amongst everybody. A week later, I think that was confirmed when Danny Lozano, Roger Tomas from the MVP group gave us a call. And they had talked to Fernando about the different possibilities and what he was interested in. And it was very clear he was interested in option 3, long-term commitment from the Padres. He wanted to be one of those very unique players that plays his career in one spot. He loves the franchise, he loves the city, he loves his teammates. And he talked a lot about really wanting to get on that path of that statute contract. So at the same time, I was having conversations with Peter Seidler, and our motives were very much in line. We made what we felt was a super aggressive 12-year concept. Danny didn't think it was quite as aggressive as we did early. And in typical Toddy fashion, his only real comment was, why not my whole career? And as we got to thinking about things, we obviously shared in that same thought process. And we're here today. I think, one, it speaks to the strength of the organization and what's been built over the last 5 years. And I think it definitely speaks to Fernando's vision and his spirit and what he wants to do with his career. The building process really started 5 years ago with the trade of James Shields to the White Sox for Fernando. The scouts that had an opportunity to see Fernando as a player before he played his first professional game, Nick Ennis, Pete DeYoung, Fred Yeoman, Spencer Graham, they came back with very consistent messages. This was a 5-tool talent who showed aptitude and instinct on the field. And probably the thing that stood out to me the most was everybody talked about his energy and passion and love for the game that shone through even on a backfield here in Arizona. And I think they felt very, very strong that because of that passion and energy, he had the chance to take those tools and turn them into super, super sharp skills. And obviously they're very accurate in their assessment from their scouting reports. On a personal level, my relationship started with Fernando. He was a 14-year-old tryout player. You may not remember this, in Juan Dolio on a field. He had a good projectable frame. He was very smart. He had a good head on his shoulders. You could tell that. He also ran about a 7.360 that day. He probably doesn't want to admit that. And I think it's really fun to be up here from a 14-year-old tryout player to now making a 14-year commitment. That's a bond that we share. And I think two things really under the radar. There's not a lot that's underrated about Fernando Tatis Jr. Everybody sees the flair and excitement that he plays the game with and the ability he has. But the number one thing to me is he has a burning desire to be the best. He's a vicious competitor, and he wants to be the best in the game. I think the second thing is he has a tremendous respect for the game of baseball. I think a lot of it was made last year, young players changing the game, in the game of baseball, what results in success. It doesn't really change from era to era. Some of the styles change, maybe some of the skills may change at times, but he really respects, he respects greatness. He respects the people that have come before him. I think a lot of that credit goes to his family. I think the people that know Junior well, they know how tight he is with his family, his mom, Maria, his dad, Fernando Sr. They've done a great job raising him. His family's super important to him. And I think a lot of the credit too to our player development staff. Like when you get a talent like Fernando, at times it's very easy just to say hands off. Don't touch that guy. Just let him be. I think our player development staff did a great job of balancing, letting him be himself, while also continuing to mold him from an all-star type capable player to a perennial MVP candidate. I could really name the whole staff, but I just want to talk about Doug Banks, Anthony Contreras, Philip Wellman, Jay Young. That had him in the minor leagues, and then major league coaches like Andy Green, Damian Easley, Bobby Dickerson, and Jay Stingler. Honestly, could go on, but that group helped take that great foundation that his parents and his family laid and continue to help mold him. And I think that made it easy for us as an organization when we talk about making a 14-year commitment. We did really 3 unique things here over the last few years. One is trading an all-star caliber player. His dad loves this story, for a guy that had not played a professional game at the time. I think the second thing was 2019, spring training, actually, when we made the decision to make an aggressive promotion and put him on the major league roster opening day and giving him an opening day assignment on the big league roster. I give a lot of that credit to what my special assistants at the time, Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, and Ian Kinsler. As players, they came into my office with about a week left before spring training, and they said, you're absolutely crazy if you don't put this guy on our major league team to start, him and Chris Paddock, actually. So had to listen to those guys at that time. And obviously the historic 14-year contract today is a unique moment. I think we're in an era and a generation in sports where players, they move from team to team. That's commonplace. You also see players at times that building their brand or making a name for themselves is as important as winning rings. In our city, we've seen some great talents and some great players leave as they're entering their prime, or as they're getting to there, or even before they get to their prime. We've seen some teams leave our city, and I think it's been hard for our fan base or the sports fans in San Diego to bite down on consistency. And I think that's what makes today such a special day for the fans of San Diego. For the sports fans in San Diego. So I think they really appreciate and understand the impact of Fernando's decision today, wanting to be here, wanting to be a part of this, wanting to be a part of the city and the organization for a long time. And I think a lot of the credit goes to our ownership, goes to Peter Seidler. He makes it very clear. It's easy working for him. It's very clear what the message is, and that's to win championships. That's to do something great. And do something that's sustainable and year out, have an opportunity to play in October. I think Don Welke, who shaped a lot of our thoughts here in this organization for the few years he was here, he always talked about first if you're going to have a championship organization, you need people of ability, and then you need stability. And I think everything we've done on the baseball side and the business side here over the last 5 years, that's really that philosophy is really at its core. And when you have a franchise player and a franchise talent, and an owner that both share a vision to play on that big stage year in, year out, you have a chance to do something really special. So he has a lot of nicknames: El Niño, Bebo, Nando, Toddy, Junior. ¿Qué nombre más que tú tienes ahora?
Superman.
But we're super excited to announce Fernando Tatis' extension here today and his 14-year deal with the Padres.
Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Fernando, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. Wow. I just feel grateful for everything that has happened. First of all, I want to thank Peter for putting their part. Thank AJ for trusting me. To my family, they build me up. What I always say, what I am today is because of my family. How they just brought me out to this life, how they teach me everything, and they'll always be my number one supporters, and they always have been there for me. I want to say thank you to everybody out there that has helped me in my career, every coach that have put their part on my side. They know who they are, and I just want to say thank you. And I'm embracing this moment right now. It just feels great. It just feels great. You know, when you're just a kid dreaming on the field. When my dad was playing, and I see myself playing on the big leagues, being a winner, being one of the best of all the time, and now it's getting more complete. But I'm just grateful for everything, and to the city of San Diego. We're here to stay, and I love this city. I love the fans. I love the culture. I love the vibe, and I'm all about winning, and I'm all about winning in San Diego. So I feel like that's gonna be the big part over here.